We are back for another edition of the Total-MLS Roundtable. We're joined by, we have five people on the panel tonight with some, I'm sure, some interesting things to discuss, as always. We tend to sometimes get off topic. I'm sure that will not happen tonight because this is here's my notes for the show on a sticky note. So if you ever wonder how we prepare for this show, it's mostly me writing on a sticky note. So, with that being said, the production value is at an all-time high for this show. We'll dive right into things. Oh, well, I guess I'll introduce everyone. I'm Dustin. If you don't recognize my voice, I'm on here all the time. I'm sorry if you don't like me. If you do, then you're in luck. We have Tyler with his monocle.
Hi,
I
guys.
think he also has a mustache. He's staying strong with Pablo Mastroeni, his coach. He's got the Pablo stash going, which is a good look. We'll a good look. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Rob, Rob is now growing his Canadian winter beard to try to stay warm from the ongoing blizzards. And he before the show we were telling him what the temperature was in Fahrenheit. He did not understand. He had to punch it into his phone. He has a Fahrenheit Celsius converter. There it is on his phone. If you could see his screen. So Rob's trying to stay warm up there. Also trying to stay warm, Mike, up in New York, waiting for the blizzard. If he gets snowed in, and this is the last thing he does, I feel bad for him. Mike, don't let this be the last thing you do. He had to brave the elements just to go to his car and get his headphones. He's here, folks. He's made it back from his car. It wasn't too bad, was it?
No, not yet.
Not yet. And Kevin, new to the group, joining. Welcome in to this group of different, interesting folks.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Talking soccer.
That's what we do. We don't do much good, but it's about all we do. And some people won't even say it's good. But, All right, so we'll dive right into the goings on in MLS. I think the main thing probably right now is the CBA. What's going on with the CBA? What's going to happen with the CBA? There were reports last week that the players would strike if they don't get free agency. There's reports of a possible strike. I know Brian Strauss he writes for Sports Illustrated, I think. Yeah, he used to be with Sporting News. He had something about the players possibly striking after the Champions League games before the regular season starts. So let's start with free agency. Is free agency worth striking for the players? From their perspective, obviously from fans we don't want to see it, but what do you guys think on free agency? Is it make or break? The league must have free agency. Tyler, I know you have some opinions on this.
Yeah, I do. I think that it should have free agency. I think it's stupid not to. And again, I'm not a huge fan of the whole single entity thing, and bidding against yourself. It's kind of weird to me, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean it seems like, and a lot of the players have said, there's free agency everywhere else. There's free agency in all the other American sports. Now's the time to do it. Will it be done? It seems to be the breaking point. Why are the owners against it? I think a number of things. The league feels like they can control things, even though we've seen how they can quote-unquote control things with allocation to Toronto. But I don't know. I guess
The owners are going to have to dish out more money.
yeah, I think that's the
A lot
ultimate
more
thing.
money.
Yeah, that's the big thing. They're holding that pocketbook,
Mm-hmm.
that checkbook, real close to the vest. They see these things like free agency, and they know the bidding wars start. All of a sudden, they're paying a lot more than whatever the league pays to bring. The league helps them pay to bring people over. Mike, you have any thoughts on free agency?
Oh, I think the players should definitely do it. I didn't favorite the tweet, and I forgot what player sent it out. I think it was Harrison Ship earlier today, or someone retweeted I saw earlier
Yeah,
today
a couple days
of
ago.
him saying, "Hey, Giovinco, welcome to MLS. I hope he knows that he'll make in 2 days what some players on his team won't even make in the entire year." That's weird. Like to see stuff like that, that's disheartening.
He said, "I wonder if Jovinko knows that he will literally make more money in 2 days than some of his teammates will the entire year." And then he put at MLS just in case
Right,
they weren't watching.
There was no hashtag. That's at.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure the league Twitter people saw his fury.
But what I wonder is, because obviously the players are ready to strike, and it's good that you see guys that are making a lot, like Bradley and Omar Gonzalez, who I'm not sure if they're the player reps for their teams or not, but saying, yeah, we'll strike to get more money for our fellow players. That's a good sign. But I'm not sure the owners of the teams, at least some of them, care, because you look at Red Bull, Citigroup, AEG. Up in Toronto, the Maple Leafs, these are owners that have multiple businesses. Same thing when the NHL struck the last few times. A lot of those owners own NBA teams, or they own other teams where, all right, if this is not going right now, I'm not losing out money. You got to think about guys like Rob Heineman, Joey Saputo. I don't know what else they have their hands in, but you got to think that affects them more, owners, than it does the big groups that own teams.
Well, Saputo's got his cheese.
Oh, okay. Well,
But-
Literally.
Real. No joke.
Well, it's nice to have the really rich players to back up the poor guys, but at the same time, it doesn't really affect the rich guys as much. They have a ton of money if they're good with finance. The other guys who are making $30,000, $35,000, striking is a serious situation for them. Whereas these other guys making $6 million a year, it's like, well, okay, if it goes for a couple of months, it's not that big a deal. So I don't know how you make that feel right, but it's good that they're backing them up. But
Well, I mean, the guys at the top, they're going to get, if free agency happens, they're going to get more money. And yeah, the lower, $30,000 players might get some more money, but they can't afford to strike. And if they do, and they do get free agency, the DPs are going to get way more. I mean, that's my opinion. Because the teams will, it'll be a bidding war for them.
Yeah, there will be something in it for all of them. Yeah, when Altidore came over, if there was free agency and he was free to sign with anyone, there's no telling what somebody would have ponied up. AEG, or I'm sure MLSE would have had their checkbook out too, as they eventually did. But the Red Bull would have probably made a giant offer. I don't know if they're into spending money anymore now at Red Bull, but but going back to free agency, now is their time. They have the CBA's up. This is something that really is big for them, and I think they feel like now, it's now or never. We do this now, or we sign a new 4-year CBA without it, and there's no telling, 4 years from now, the owners have us by our pants even worse. So I think it's going to come to. I think it comes down to probably the beginning of March before we see anything.
How long is this TV deal for currently?
I don't remember. You guys remember the new deal?
look it up. I think it's 5 or 7 years. I can't remember.
Yeah, I want to say 7 for some reason.
Me too, actually. Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I think it is 7. You can look it up.
Yeah, we're Googling it.
Because I don't think it's going to line up better for the players from their perspective, because MLS can say it, they're losing all this money, but they just signed this huge television deal from what, like 34 million to 100 million dollars.
End of
Or something like that.
2022. Yeah, so 7 years.
Yeah, so I mean, even if that'll be like 2 CBAs for now, technically, if you want to like look at it like that. If they do it every 4 years, um, I mean, I know the last CBA came down to like a couple of days before the season started. So, I mean, after
Yeah,
the champ, didn't I see that the Champions League games will still get played? Have to get played though.
yeah, I think. I mean, I think for what is Montreal and DC are still in it.
Hmm.
I think they would wait to strike after that because those games are coming up in February, I think. So they'd probably play those because I don't know how that works with their contracts. I'm sure they have something built in with the players' union with CONCACAF, but they'll probably play those, and then they would strike, that first week of March. But I mean, like going back to the TV deal, the players aren't stupid. They read the news, they see the crazy amounts of dollars that the TV deal is bringing in. They see the $100 million franchise fee for New York City. They see all this money getting splashed around. They know the pie is much bigger than what Garber in the league says it is. They just got to get their piece of it. That's about it. Fair is fair.
Chances they actually do get locked out?
Well, there's chances they strike. I think they would strike. The players will strike. The owners aren't going to lock them out. I mean, up until that article came out the other day from Sports Illustrated, I didn't think it was a real possibility. But reading that and seeing they're very united. Like you guys were saying, Michael Bradley and some of these guys they're making $6 million a year. Dan Kennedy, sorry, all those guys are behind it. I'd probably say 50-50 at this point.
I can't see it happening. I can't see a strike happening. There's too much riding on this season for them to strike.
Yeah.
I think if they do strike, and I saw someone mention this on Twitter, and I can't remember who it is, so sorry if this was your idea. Someone saying that they strike, they miss that Friday game, just to make a statement. The LA game in LA, the season kickoff, they don't sign the agreement until Saturday morning, just to kind of make a statement. It doesn't really hurt. They'll reschedule that game, so it doesn't really hurt the season. I'm sure it'll piss the LA fans off, but just kind of to make a statement that, hey, we're in this for the fans, but we're not going to back down. And I think that's the whole point of a lot of this stuff from going to Sports Illustrated, because the owners don't talk. Well, they can't talk because of all their stuff, but the players are going to talk and put all this out because they want the fans on their side.
Yeah.
And a lot of strikes, like when the NHL was locked out and when baseball striked a while back, is always well, those guys are so rich. Why do they need more money? This is stupid. Forget this league. I'm selling my tickets. Here, I think it's the complete opposite. Like we were saying, the players deserve to make more than $35,000 a year, and the fans are. Probably 90% of fans are on their side in this whole negotiation, which is probably not the case in a lot of labor disagreements. So they have the fans, and ultimately, that's going to be huge because they're going to be able to say, this is what we wanted, and the fans are going to say, yeah, that's fair. So we couldn't get it, so we didn't play. Fans will be pissed if they miss games, but I mean, you guys, if they missed 2 weeks but got what they wanted, we'd be over it pretty fast, right?
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks. I mean, depending on your team, you might not even have home games, so it's not like you miss time at your home arena or anything like that. All right, so MLS doesn't start until the end of March. I mean, if you look at, you want to compare other sports with lockouts and stuff like that. I think the NFL, to make the practice squad, you're making 6 figures minimum if you're on the practice squad. How many players on every team? That's 4 players practically. I think because it's not even 100,000. I think it's 250,000 if you make a practice squad. is your minimum guaranteed salary for a practice squad.
It's a good job if you can get it.
Yeah, right? Like, so, I mean, how many players are on an MLS roster on every team make that of one player on a practice squad for the NFL? That's why, like, I think a lot, like you said, a lot of fans would be more okay with the players getting more because they're nowhere near making anything of their peers in other sports.
Yeah, it's a giant gap. You got guys in the NFL making $100 million. There's nowhere even near that in MLS. So,
Well, you also have to think about, fans filling the stands as well. In NFL, a lot of the games, fans are there all the time, whereas MLS, I see a lot of games where, half-empty stadiums, and so how can you tell an owner to dish out more money when they can't even get their fans in? It's hard.
See, that's why I think a strike, they have to avoid it at all costs, because I don't think a strike would affect fans like us, let's say, because MLS has got us. I guess we're just fans, period, one way or the other. But I think a strike would affect the casual more than anybody else, because I mean, regardless of whether they're on the side of the players or the side of the owners, the fact that they're going to see this,
they're not going to know all the details.
League.
Yeah,
They're gonna see this.
Casual fans aren't going to know, the players don't have free agency and it's something they want. They're not going to know all the details. They're just going to see it. Oh, this soccer league went on strike. Why should I go to that?
Well, we saw how badly the strike affected baseball and attendance for that too. So I mean, who knows what kind of damage it could do to MLS. I mean, MLS's reputation is, I mean, it's still a young league, but it's just starting to kind of come into its own. I mean, you go on strike, and who knows what could happen after that.
Well, and you wonder if that threat of fewer fans in the stands from an owner's perspective, if that's gonna, if that'll weigh in on their bargaining position.
I think it has to. I mean, the league itself, it's getting to the point where we've probably talked about this in the past when we've been talking about single entity. I mean, single entity will probably never ever disappear, but it's getting to that point where you got to start to kind of loosen up a bit with these rules in order for the league to kind of take that next step. And I think that free agency is probably the first step in many steps to making MLS an attractive kind of place for younger guys to come, as opposed to this retirement league mentality that a lot of Europeans have.
Absolutely agreed.
Yep. All right, so that's our thoughts on the CBA. Again, we're kind of just see how things go over these next 7 weeks till the season starts, or less than that. 5 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, it's quick.
I think it was 6 weeks last Friday, so less than 6. So in the next 5.5 weeks, something will have to get done, or we won't be seeing LA versus Chicago on Friday night. But
shoot,
why are you? The Galaxy are going to bring out Cosmo, and they're going to have rings.
I don't care about the Galaxy.
There will probably be a Landon tribute because we haven't had enough.
Another one.
My club doesn't play at home till late March.
Rob's, when do you guys play at home? Like the middle of the year?
It's I think it's the first couple weeks of May, something like that.
What?
Mother's Day. Mother's Day is our first home.
They're renovating BMO.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's our first home game. So hey, we could be out of the playoffs before we even play at home.
The Dynamo went to MLS Cup final the year that they played like 9 straight road games, so it's doable.
Anything can happen, I guess.
Didn't Sporting win the East the year that they played the first 10 on the road? So
see, it's a blessing in disguise. Toronto FC, Eastern Conference champs, Eastern Conference champions.
Yeah, well, we've
Although-
already got back-to-back off-season titles, so might as well.
Like us last season, though, Rob, and go through that stretch where you have all games on the road and lose everything. I mean, there's that, too.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So 14 winless games.
That's not good, usually.
Yeah, it doesn't help things, that's for sure. You can ask Ryan Nelson about that.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to the next things on our sticky note. And let's talk about Mike's club up there, the Red Bulls. They've had an interesting few weeks. They had a town hall. If you haven't listened to it, you should carve out some time and listen to the town hall. It's very entertaining, I guess I'll say. There was a lot of opinion.
Why'd you fire Petke? That's all I can do. Why'd you
Just
laugh at
answer the question.
Beep. Why?
Yeah, a lot of cursing, even for the tri-state area.
And then I heard, there are women present. You probably shouldn't say those swear words. I'm like, well, who the
that was Frank Isola, who covers soccer when he likes, which
like 1950 when the
he
women
doesn't.
were in the kitchen or something.
Yeah,
He gets like free trips to the World Cup. Like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, I have a lot against Frank Isola, but they did ask the voice of the Red Bulls, Steve Cangelosi, to do it, and he declined out of respect for Petke. So
I don't blame Cangelosi, man. I like Cangelosi, actually.
I like Angelosi. And he goes,
he's the only
when
thing
he goes-
bear about watching Devils games. If you ever have to, unfortunately, watch a Devils game.
No.
Not really, no. But yeah, the Red Bulls had a nice little town hall, and now Tim Cahill's reportedly heading to parts unknown where it's really hot.
United
Arab Emirates. And then
which they play tomorrow. Australia plays them tomorrow.
yeah, so if he scores like a bicycle in his own net, then we'll know the fix is in.
We'll know it's real. We'll know it's real.
We'll know it's real. The cash will be waiting on the sideline for him. Yeah. And then poor Red Bulls Twitter people today. First, they posted a nice picture of Red Bull Arena this morning with some snow, and the fans didn't take kindly to that photo for just being a picture of snow. Pulling it up right now, we had a good morning from RBA, hashtag RBNY, hashtag Snowmageddon 2015. And the replies, are you guys selling the snow to Germany too? Back to Austria. Miazga going to somewhere. Red Bull out. Stop ruining my team. Sell the team. You're a joke. Maybe it's time to start running the team somewhere other than straight into the effing ground. Buy some players. There's a lot more.
This is why I'm glad I can't be on Twitter while I'm at work, because
that's what the stands will look like this summer.
Like on Twitter doing damage control the entire day.
It's not.
Come on. It's okay.
And then they the ultimate troll move to their own fans this afternoon. They posted a quote transaction tracker. Keep up to date with all of Red Bull New York's roster moves this offseason.
Why'd you fire Petke?
And that got replies like, why do we need this if no moves are being made? Shouldn't there be just one arrow pointing out? This should go well. Funny how Petke isn't on the list. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Pictures of a blank spreadsheet. So.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, that was. Yeah, he's got wit, that one, Craig.
It's been a rough time up there, Mike. You guys are left with one designated player if Cahill's out.
Most
that's
likely,
Wright Phillips spending his DP money on a selfie stick. If you saw a picture today.
Those Europeans.
And they get the DP money. They go all out. They start buying.
Welcome to the single DP club, Mike. It's awesome. You'll love it.
Yeah.
We have a DP kind of. We have like it's not even caps. It's like lowercase DP.
He's like,
I mean, they they have the capita to make moves, and there's a lot of moves rumored in the works. One that has a lot of fans kind of on the fence about is a young go to Montreal for Felipe Martins and Montreal's top allocation spot, which would be they can get anyone coming back to MLS that's or coming to MLS that's a national team player, whether it be Question or Terrence Boyd sent the Red Bull Twitter fan base into frenzy when he took a picture with Jesse Marsh and what I could only assume was Ellie Curtis' 300-page plan, because I still don't know what that guy looks like, so I'm assuming it was Ellie Curtis. But it presents the Rebels with an interesting problem, because they're just gonna keep compiling central midfielders. I mean, they signed homegrown Sean Davis. They signed Leo Stoltz. Felipe Martins plays mostly in the middle, so that would be another central midfielder. On top of that, with Wade, Christensen, Bustamante, Eric Stevenson, Dax, Alexander. I mean, they have so many central midfielders, and then Question also, if Question comes over, there's just so many that they still have no defenders. I mean, so I have a feeling
they're going to go with the 2-7-1 formation this year.
Well, I mean, really the only center back on the roster is Miazga and not this guy Armando, but Miazga is off to train in Qatar with Leipzig, which either way makes no sense. Whether he's going to sign with them, try with them, or even just train with them, it makes no sense for the fact that the Red Bulls started preseason camp tomorrow in Orlando. They got to Orlando today. Why wouldn't, if you only have two center backs signed to your roster, why wouldn't he be training? Because Miazga could be the future of the Rebel back line. He had a lot of promise in his, he's only 19. He had a lot of promise in the games that he played, minus that one or two mistakes that he had, one against New England. I know he had another mistake where Henri yelled at him to do his effing job. But why wouldn't you have him training alongside with a new coach also, and a new, for the most part, new technical staff? Like it makes no sense for him to train on the other side of the world. And I do have a feeling that Zizo will be used as a right back. I just have
the ever so popular wing backs right now in the world of soccer.
Right.
Louis Van Gaal's beautiful wing back system.
Well, you guys had Richard Eckersley. You shouldn't have let him go.
You had Rafa Marquez.
But I mean, Eckersley, he started the season terrible.
Shots fired, Rafa Marquez.
Listen, Eckersley had a really, really terrible start. I mean, he gave up a penalty in that first game. Gave up a penalty, I think, in the third game. Like he was awful, plain and simple. And then he came into the LA game for Duval, who just seemed to completely run out of steam, and he was pretty damn good from then on through the playoffs. I mean, everyone, in the stadium they talked to, when every time you start Eckersley in the lineup, you're like, oh, you're cringing. You're like, he's gonna do it. He really made no mistakes from then on out, and I think letting him go I don't think he was that much either. Because I know they got him on a steal from Toronto, but
Yep.
New coach also, so we'll see who Jesse Marsh brings in.
Is Bobby Comby still around?
No, Eckersley, Comby, they were both let go, and no one picked him up in the re-entry draft either.
Shocking. The great Bobby Comby. Dang. Man.
Destroyed us in 2010.
Allie Krieger, I'll take her. Play outside back.
Yeah.
But it's just because she's awesome. But yeah, it's been a rough summer for the Red Bulls. Or winter, to say the least. I mean, at this point, Mike, is there anything that it turns the fan base to happiness again? I think Altidore would have been a big hooray, but
yeah, I think they were really counting on that after they fired Pecky and they saw the backlash. From that, I really think signing Altidore would have gotten not all the fan base, because there are some people that are just not able to be turned around by anything that they do besides sell the club. But some of the fan base would have been able to be salvaged by it. The one good thing is there are some of the fan base still that's saying, okay, you don't have to support Red Bulls, so you don't have to buy tickets, or if you have season tickets, you already paid for them. You don't have to buy jerseys, you don't have to buy scarves, you don't have to buy food, concessions, stuff like that. Go to the game, support the guys wearing the jersey because they're wearing it for you. I mean, a lot of guys like Dax, Robles, they work for the fans. But I mean, unless they're signing as their second and third DPs, Zlatan and Messi, there's not a lot that they can do outside of selling the club. I think that's really the only thing, and it won't happen this year. I mean, maybe they'll sell it this year and it'll be the last year for the Red Bulls, but the fans are stuck with Red Bull owning the team this season for 2015 if there is a season. It's rumored that the ownership group behind PSG is really, really making a big push for it. But I mean, who knows that the price of buying a team in MLS is $100 million, and they have that $200+ million stadium and that the training complex, training facility, which they're doing like $40 million, something like that, of more construction to it this year. So the buying price for that franchise goes up.
Zlatan will just buy it himself. He'll just
right?
He'll tell the PSG owners, "I got this." Zlatan FC.
I'd be okay with it.
He'll rename the club. He'll have himself as like the entire lineup. He'll just play himself 1-on-11, just trying to mag everyone and rainbow everyone. That'd be pretty awesome. But yeah, so hopefully now you guys have a giant blizzard coming. So as if things.
Good thing we're not playing DC United.
Yes, maybe Hans Baca would. He doesn't want to go out there in this.
As if nothing could get worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that blizzard.
Hans Baca is not down with this blizzard. He does not want to be out on the field.
No, he is not.
All right, so the Red Bulls, a less than ideal summer, and
winter.
Do what?
Winter, you mean?
Winter. I keep saying summer because that's stupid schedule.
Yeah,
normal.
Eric Winalda has got in my
Thanks
head
for ripping
with
it
the schedule, yelling about schedules. Fix the schedule. Winalda, you've gotten to me. I know you're watching this. You just love the show so much, and you're probably listening on podcasts over at Fox. But Eric, winter, my bad. Sorry about that.
I've got to get that fire, or why'd you fire Mike Petke soundbite as like a drop.
Yes.
Fire Mike Petke!
Wasn't there one guy yelling out, "Don't even say his effing name"?
Yeah.
Somebody was yelling that out too.
Yeah.
I
Someone said you don't
like,
get to say his name. Someone yelled at him, "You don't get to say his name."
I wanted to see someone go like full on Oprah, like Mike Petke, we speak your name. Like
it was. That was kind of uncomfortable to listen to, in all honesty. March went over fans. Robles, if he had any doubters for any reason whatsoever, doesn't now. I mean, he got his warm up for the season in. I think he could just not play until MLS Cup, and he could still be the best keeper in the league from his performance. But
saving Jesse Marsh instead of shots on goal.
Yeah, Robles was out there making some saves on the podium. So, all right. So we got about 20-25 minutes left. We'll start. There was a lot of questions from our Twitter peeps. How many people follow Total-MLS now? All 11,000 of you. It's not counting the porn bots. You guys are awesome too, but you didn't send in any questions, and we probably wouldn't want your questions, so just leave it at that. But we got a question kind of going off of the Red Bulls thing from Matt. he wanted, and I actually wrote this on the sticky note too. Who do you think had the best offseason to date, and why? So we'll go around.
Wow.
Rob, do you have any thoughts?
If you look closely, I got 2 trophies up there. One for last off season, and the other one is for this year.
Those the only 2 trophies Toronto has. Yay!
Back-to-back off-season champions, Toronto FC.
Hey, hashtag win the off season. Congratulations.
Hey man, you gotta start somewhere, okay?
Yeah, TFC's probably up there. Tyler, you have any winners you've seen?
I don't know. I would say probably TFC. I don't know how else you don't say them. For the off season.
Yeah.
Who's loser though? NYCFC I think is up there. So I feel pretty positively about that. New York, yeah, okay. No, all of the New York.
The entire tri-state area.
Had a rough go. I think
not the Cosmos though. The
Cosmos are going crazy.
Cosmos are bringing it up. I'm just waiting for them to sign D-Row to just finish it off. I just want that badly. Oh. Mike,
they missed,
do you have any winners?
I mean, TFC, yes. I think Chicago and New England are making some good moves, especially if New England gets Agudelo back, because he can definitely, unlike Davies and Bunbury, he can definitely find the net almost every game. I mean, I know that's a big statement, but he's more talented than the two of them. And you know, Chicago is just always putting together. Chicago always scares me. For some reason, Chicago every year always scares me as a Red Bull fan.
Maloney, you think Maloney's, I mean, DP worthy?
Baloney.
Yeah, I don't think he's DP worthy, but he's a good addition.
Oh man.
And if you want to talk about losers, yeah, the red and the blue teams in New York. Definitely part of the losers, except, I mean, the Rebels napped one victory, and that was Leo Stoltz from the draft, although he kind of held MLS hostage. But,
they kind of cheated the system, but the system is what the system is.
It's true.
I'm not going to MLS unless I sign with New York or LA. Best player in college soccer, and he falls to, 17th in the draft?
Yep.
Such as MLS.
It's a good way to manipulate it, though. I mean, because if he didn't want to play, he had other options. You go elsewhere. Who's going to take that risk, except for a New York club? If he did, if he says I'm going to go elsewhere, well, then go elsewhere. But they don't.
Then he get his rights for like the rest of his life.
Yep.
That's how MLS works. Kevin, do you have any winners, losers this off season?
Well, I think TFC is the obvious answer, but besides TFC, Orlando City, they're obviously not an established team yet, but I thought they did really well in the draft, and I think they're doing everything right. Far different than what the other New York team is doing. So, in my opinion.
Kevin, who's your team? Well, I must have missed this. Who's your team?
Not yours.
Not yours. I'm a San Antonio Scorpions fan, actually.
Oh, cool.
But as far as MLS, I follow all MLS, so I have no bias. I just
the NASL champions.
Are you in San Antonio then? Just to give, because he's new to the.
I am new. So, yes, I am in San Antonio, where it is 60 some odd degrees.
Oh man.
So
Well, I don't blame you.
I'm sitting comfortable here.
A beautiful city, San Antonio. If you've never been there,
it is beautiful.
If you've ever been there, go down to the Riverwalk, have some margaritas. It's a good time.
That's good, man.
It's a good time. Yeah, the NASL champs this year actually played the entire season, so that was good.
Although they're driving you probably haven't followed, but they're driving me crazy in this off season.
Restrepo's gone, and
Janicki went to Indy, and we lost some other players. It's just
my boy Billy Forbes is still there, so that's good.
Hey, yeah, we kept most of our core, but
you may remember Restrepo from Kiev got traded for hotel rooms.
You're absolutely right.
Last year, He's now moved on to the Cosmos because they have a lot more money than everyone else.
The lure of Raul, playing with Raul, is too
Yes,
strong.
that was it.
Too
Wanted
strong.
to be with Raul. That was it. All right, more questions from the peeps. Our friends at Sacramento Republic, you guys are out of control. They wanted to know what is our quest and what is your favorite color. Also, their follow-up question was favorite swallow, African or English? I think something along those. Oh, English or African swallow.
It's European. It should be European. That's the correct quote.
Whatever.
It's from Monty Python.
Sac Republic, we love you guys. You're just a little strange. So back to actual questions. Our best friend, lover of all things Canada, Seth. You may know him from of New England Revolution fame on Total-MLS. He wants to know more goals this season, Altidore in Toronto or
Altidore.
the return of Juan Agudelo in New England. We've got Rob's thoughts. Anyone?
Altidore's going to tear his knee like 2 weeks into the season.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh, God.
Just jinxed it.
We have Gold Cup. Don't say that.
Don't say that.
He's a real help in the World Cup, too.
Well,
Yeah,
Altidore definitely. He's got
As he takes a swig of beer there.
yeah, I would probably lean Altidore too. I mean, Agudelo with Lee Wynn and Bunbury, Kellen Rowe, Jermaine Jones, wherever he plays.
We don't even know if he's there yet. How can he have some more goals than
He'll
Altidore?
be there.
That's just Seth chirping Canada. That's it.
Seth taking shots at Canada. Seth likes to dig at Altidore and TFC whenever he can.
Haven't they been digging at themselves for like 10 years? I mean,
Oh, that's terrible.
Hey,
Hey,
relax.
whoa.
Hey, Rob, I'm giving you credit, man. I think he's going to do well. I'm hoping. But at the same time, I think he's going to do well. You guys are going to probably do well.
Just because I'm bitter, I'm going to go, and this hurts, but I'm going to go Agudelo over Altidore.
Yeah.
No reason. Just
No reason. Just
Listen, I'm choosing between two former players that both are not wearing the colors of my team anymore. So, but
You're not better at all, are you?
So okay.
Because
next question.
I think I was gonna say because Agudelo will play more games for New England because Josie and Bradley will be gone too much the national team. Agudelo won't.
That's a good point. You're assuming Juan Agudelo doesn't make a triumphant return for the Gold Cup, though.
sorry,
To
guys.
save-
He's
to
been
save
absent
him here.
for 3-4 months. He's been completely absent from
Like 10 months.
Tweet from Seth.
Uh-oh. Seth's listening. Go ahead. What does Seth have to say?
Yeah, he says Canada is one of my favorite states. So
See, there it is. Seth continuing his love for Canada. As only he can.
oh my God.
It's our good friend. You can follow him at SethMan31. If you'd like to leave him your comments, go ahead and send them his way. So, next question. There was a number of questions about RSL. Now Plata's hurt today. I don't know if you've seen the news.
I don't know if you can see my thumb right now, but it's
Tyler's putting his thumb up
pretty tall.
from Colorado. But RSL, Plata now hurt. They've lost, a number of guys. Grabavoy, Winger went with Kreis. Borchers is off to Portland. It seems like they rebuild every year, but now they're in another rebuild, I guess. They got the young guys are going to have to step up. Velasquez has gone to New York City too, I guess.
I also saw that Plata's a young DP now.
Yeah, I saw that from somewhere.
I think it was Jonathan Tannenwald.
Yeah, I think he
it
put
was
that.
him.
That would give them 3 Well, they have 3 now. I don't know. Jaime is one.
Is he one?
I think he is. I don't know. Saborio is one.
Who was the guy they signed last year?
Sebastian Jaime. I think he's one.
Oh yeah.
The striker. Yeah. but you can have 4 apparently at this point. Toronto. So, do you guys see RSL bouncing back, Mike? Thinking.
I think they'll be fine if Sabo can stay healthy for these first few months, because then he'll be off of Costa Rica to the Gold Cup. So if Plata's coming back around that time, I think they'll be okay. But I mean, if Jaime really didn't play a whole lot last season, I mean, I don't really remember watch. I mean, I did see a couple of RSL games, and after they signed him, and I only saw him coming on as a sub. So maybe at the full preseason under his belt, he'll be able to contribute more. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. But they definitely lose a dynamic without Plata. That speed and that heading ability for like the shortest guy in MLS. Yeah. I mean, how do teams let that guy head the ball?
Yeah.
They can't see him, Mike.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's fair.
He appears in front of the ball. It's magic.
He goes.
I'm kind of glad he got hurt. I mean, I feel badly for him, but yeah. Such
is a rivalry.
Yeah. Screw them. But he's a good player.
Yeah, didn't he used to play for Toronto or?
Half the league used to play for Toronto. we drafted him, and then we gave him away for nothing, and now he's doing amazing. So that's usually the way things go.
If you like
Brad Davis, Mike McGee, Nick Raimondo. You want me to go on with all the players the Red Bulls have drafted? Or the Metro Stars also went on to win stuff away from New York.
But the difference is that you guys have a supporter shield. We haven't even seen playoffs.
You have, you have Canadian colors.
Pick up Camilo on trial too.
What's that?
You guys have Camilo Sanvezo on trial too.
No.
Didn't you?
Don't you guys have Amway Canadian Championships?
The American Way Canadian Championship.
Hey, that's a Champions League berth.
Oh my God.
Massive. You guys knocked out the Galaxy one year.
Yeah, that was in Champions League.
Yeah, the Champions League.
That was glorious.
So, speaking of Toronto, there was also a number of questions about one Gilberto. Where might he go? Who would be a good fit for him? Will he go? Obviously, if it's 3 DPs, I think he's the odd man out because Bradley's not going. Josie just got there. And
Nico hasn't shown up yet.
Nico hasn't even shown up, so he's not going. If Gilberto does go, where do you guys see a good landing spot for him? I mean, I think I don't think they'd trade him to an Eastern team if they had the choice. Maybe they'll give him to Vancouver like they did with Lava.
I just hope that he doesn't show up anywhere in MLS. Sell him to Liga MX. Sell him somewhere in Europe if there's somebody who wants him. Because originally that was, I guess, part of his master plan. He was going to use MLS as like a stepping stone into Europe. I read that a few times in the past couple weeks. But I don't want to see him anywhere near MLS if he's not with TFC.
Well, the only place I think he's going to go is to the rule book as the fourth EP, and then it will just happen. It'll be the Gilberto rule, like it was the Beckham law.
Well, I mean, if you're a player of Gilberto's quality, you definitely need a rule named after you.
Yeah, why not? He's a world beater, right?
He's like the greatest striker. He's like the greatest striker in the world, according to our friend Kurt Larson.
No, that's Andrew Wiedemann. Okay.
Oh, didn't he sign with Ottawa? Didn't he sign with Ottawa today?
Yeah, Ottawa Fury FC. He's their newest striker. But according to Paul Mariner, he was the greatest finisher in the modern era.
The modern era.
Wow. Modern era. That was Paul Mariner's quote about
what era?
The Toronto FC era from 2008 to 2012.
We're talking about Paul Mariner here, the guy who used to wear shorts and run up and down the sidelines. So just take it with a grain of salt, I guess. A big grain of salt.
Speaking of shorts, and I forgot to mention during the best off seasons, obviously the Houston Dynamo, Owen Coyle in his shorts be coming to a sideline near you.
Oh yeah.
Dynamo have had a good offseason. They've signed Kubo Torres, who will be here in July, busting out his robot dance. Raul Rodriguez from La Liga, a center back, which they desperately needed. They have Boniek Garcia is no longer on a designated player contract, so they have him off the books of being paid a lot, I guess. Tyler Derrick's the new starting keeper. Bruin, Charles Barnes, Brad Davis, Boniek, Ricardo Clark. They have a solid 11. We'll see what Owen Coyle does coming into MLS, but I just had to throw that in since I am wearing their jersey. And they're going to the Western Conference, which is going to be insane this season.
It's going to be murder.
Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be just everyone just beating the crap out of everyone. And
everybody beating the crap out of the Rapids. You're forgetting that part.
But now 6 teams will get into the playoffs, so you can be pretty crappy and still make it probably. Somebody's gonna make the playoffs with like 30 points.
I wonder if they did that for Toronto, like they already had some stuff. Cool. Let's increase the odds. You guys need a really good all-star player from overseas? Okay, that's cool.
Who was it that wrote the article? I think it was...
that was Deadspin, I think.
Yeah, that the league has rigged the season already for Toronto.
Yeah, I mean...
It probably has, but come on.
I mean, if you're gonna rig the league for anyone, it's gonna be this Toronto FC, and that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, their soccer knowledge is pretty terrible, if we're being honest. All right, one last. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Rob.
Seth just told me to stop ragging on Paul Mariner and that he looked good in shorts. Shout out to Seth again.
Seth's Paul Mariner, I think, does color for Revs games now. So Seth probably hangs with Paul Mariner in their shorts together, kicking it at Gillette after games. He and Seth run the bleachers or something to stay in shape. So sorry, Seth. All right. So last question: What teams do we think do not make the playoffs right now? I mean, obviously it's way too early, but is there any teams that you just look at and say they're not that good? Rob's gonna say Montreal, so
get that out of the way.
I mean, I don't know that there's anybody really weak. Like we just said, the West is pretty stacked, except maybe Colorado.
Thank you.
But
I'm waiting for it. My eyes were peeled. I'm like, really? Come
except
on.
Maybe Colorado.
Unless we do something dirty here. We're supposedly getting Hugo Rodallega from Fulham, but
well, that'll turn the tides.
Yeah, that swings the fortune into our favor.
But yeah, I mean, the Western Conference, other than Colorado, there's no one really bad. And in the East, I think the same thing. I mean, the teams that did make the playoffs have all gotten better. Chicago, we talked about. Orlando and New York City will be probably pretty good. Who?
I said there'll be wild cards. No one knows what to expect. Although I think Orlando City finishes above New York City FC in the standings,
Second.
no matter where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody in the East is going to have a bad year, I think it could be New York City FC. I think they could, even with Lampard coming in July. It could be. I think they could fall.
The only saving grace they have, I think, is Christ, because they're gonna be just kind of a cluster of thrown together pieces. They have a lot of RSL guys that kind of know the system, so they can float on that. But yeah, I would agree with you there. I think they're. If I had to say anyone at the bottom of the East right now, maybe them. Just because everyone else is probably better than them. Maybe Philadelphia. I
would say Well, I mean, I won't say New York City FC because whatever. But I mean, Montreal, I don't think really got better. I really don't think Frank Klopas is a right fit for that club. So I think they'll be at the bottom, and they lost DeVayo, and they really haven't replaced him with anyone. So
Jack Mack.
Yeah, I don't rate Jack McInerney though.
I don't really either.
Like I don't rate him. I don't rate Zach McMath. Like I don't get what the obsession is with him.
They've got Kronberg now in goal, so there's that.
Yeah.
Sporting fans might tell you that's maybe not a good thing, but yeah, I think it's always kind of parity in this league, but this year even more than ever. There's 20 teams, and you could make
12 get in.
Yeah, you could make a case probably for 12 to 15 that could, be very competitive. And then you'll always have LA and Seattle, and those teams will be there at the end. New England, I don't think, is going anywhere.
Mm-mm. I think one team from the West that is the one team that's a wild card in the West to me is San Jose. So I don't rate them, like the players they have that well, but Dom Kinnear is a coach that you don't bet against, and with a new stadium, that might give them some sort of boost this year. But you never know.
I'm gonna miss you, Dom. If you're out there watching all of your awesome press conferences, I'm gonna miss you. Have fun. Oh, so Mike McGee, you just sent out a tweet. Is that today? Yeah, Mike McGee sent out a tweet about 10 minutes ago. The thought of having to fight for players who bled for and built MLS to simply get paid for what they're worth is embarrassing. # free agency.
Oh.
So, wow. So things are going great. It sounds like at the negotiations. We're gonna. If anyone has some good NASL bars we can hang out at, we'll be coming and kick it with Kevin over in San Antonio. Watch some Scorpions games.
We have some spots open. Anybody, if they go on strike, I'll be willing to take them.
There you go. So yeah, if you want to check out that tweet from McGee, and I'll retweet it from our account at Total-MLS, just so you could see that if you haven't. Things not looking too good right now, but hopefully they change for the better. So we'll see. We're about an hour in, so we'll wrap this up so I can go take care of my daughter, who just did her business all over and before the show started. So I'm sure my wife is very excited right now. She's listening. Thanks, hon. So closing thoughts, Kevin. Your first show. Let you go last. Any last words?
Hey, I'm just ready for soccer to start again.
There you go.
It's been a while, so.
Short and to the point. Mike, stay warm up there. Any famous last words?
No, it's just we'll see what disasters happen in the next week for the Red Bulls. I'm waiting for someone to lose an arm on a ride at Disney or something.
The Red Bulls have escaped Snowmageddon. They're in Orlando, kicking it at Disney World. So hopefully no one gets injured playing with Mickey Mouse.
Keep Robles off of roller coasters. That's all I can say.
Stay off of It's a Small World, Dax. Rob, any famous last words now that you're learning Fahrenheit? Canada is your friend Seth's favorite state.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Welcome to America.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We've got half your national team already, so.
There you go. With that, he writes off. There it is. Tyler, anything you'd like to add?
No. I hate that Plata got
depressed.
At the same time. That's awesome. I mean, it's great for us. I don't mind.
Depressed Rapids fan.
Hey, I'm not depressed. It's just that we're not doing anything. So I'm more like.
Okay. Pablo has a sweet stash, so you have that.
You know what? That's really sad when that's the highlight of your off season. Your manager's mustache.
They just got
on the supers group, right? C38 is emailing out like this. Oh, we got a new DP. It's like this. They allude to this entire new thing, and then I read at the bottom and it's like sweet facial hair in Italian, and like the club he came from was like the face, like la visage or something weird like that, and like, it's all just a joke. Like that's our mustache. Come on, assholes.
Oh my god.
See, there you go. And so that's why Tyler's on the show. He brings the pain, brings the real. All right, well, I don't really have anything here myself. Like I said, going back to 3-month-old baby duties. So thanks to everyone who listened today. We'll have this up on the podcast and on the website within the next day or so. Until next week, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for reading. Thanks for following us. See you next time.